Hey guys, what's up? JK with PornReboot here. Off running an errand. Actually gonna pick up a few things and some coffee to fuel the rest of my day. But I wanted to talk about the 4 levels in life. We could call them the 4 levels of achievement. The first is survival. So survival is basically the level where you are trying to get put a roof over your head. You're struggling financially, maybe you're still living with your parents. The second is security. Security is when you've got your own place, you got a little bit of money in the bank, you've got a job. Security. The third is success. So success is when you start getting the things that you really dream of. Okay, so whether it's getting to a certain level of your finances, whether it's having a lot more free time. For a lot of people, just freedom and the ability to call the shots in their own life is what they describe as success. They can go to the places they want to go. They can experience relationships with the type of people that they want to. They can contribute, to causes and charities that they hold close to their heart. And those things are difficult to do. They're a little bit challenging to do when you are in security or you're in survival mode. Trying to cross the road here. The traffic is crazy. And then the final one is significance. So significance is when you're trying to leave a legacy. You're thinking about not just yourself, but the world, your children, your family, those people who are important to you. And you're wondering, hey, after this short time that I have on this planet, what do I have to show? What do I have to show for my time here on Earth? Now, these 4 levels of achievement in life have a lot to do with your recovery, because where you find yourself, screw it, I'm just gonna take a right here. Because wherever you find yourself on this level does have an impact on your porn addiction. So for instance, if you are still in the survival mode, you're still struggling, financially, you're always one bill behind, you're always getting your phone cut off, you're always getting notices from debt collectors, you're in a very negative space, usually you have very low self-esteem, you're in survival mode. Your priorities are different and you're always under stress. A lot of times men get stuck in this vicious cycle where they are just survival, stress, masturbation, porn. Survival, stress, porn, masturbation. It just continues over and over again. It's very difficult for you to kind of seek help at this point. That's usually where you'll, find my podcast or find our YouTube channel, one of our free resources. But your priority at that point in time is to get to security. Unfortunately, many of you just stick in survival. The problem is you stay in survival for so long that it becomes your lifestyle. Survival becomes your lifestyle. That's why you'll see men who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, which is sad, who are just stuck in survival mode. It's very unfortunate. Now let's say you manage to get your shit together and you get to security. So security is where you've got your own place, or you've got roommates, you're making money, you got a decent job, you're kind of putting some money away. This is the point where you should really start investing in your recovery if you want to move on to the next stage quicker. Unfortunately, the drawback in this stage is many men get to security and they've spent so much time in survival that they really want to enjoy themselves. They feel that they're entitled to certain things, to certain types of entertainment, to spending more time on social media. They're like, I'm secure, life is good, isn't this all a man should want? And then they stay stuck in their addiction because you are so attached to enjoying the security that you rarely had that you engage in behavior that causes you to be triggered. And then you find yourself vacillating between security and survival. You're never in security long enough because you always screw it up. You're always just right there at that line of survival. The next stage is success. But to get to success, if you've been struggling with your porn addiction for a long time, you have got to use the opportunity and the time you have with security to start working on your porn addiction. That's where you focus on it. That's where you start. That's where you find yourself a mentor. That's where you go to a group. That's where you go see a therapist. You know, not spending your money on going to the bar or going to the club or taking women out on dates. That shit is not going to help you end your compulsive behavior. It was at that point when I had a little bit of security and I was admittedly on the line of survival as well, that I sought out my first mentor to help me. And the reason why I sought him out was because I understood that there was another level. And I wanted to get out of security because I knew that I would be too comfortable being in the level of security. And I knew that only people who were in the level of success could get me there. So I sought out a mentor who was not only successful, but he had successfully overcome his addiction. He had successfully overcome a lot of his anxiety and limiting beliefs around women and other areas of his life. You know, I sought him out. I sought out other men who could help me in this area. I invested a lot of money, which I did not have, into him helping me out, you know, and that almost put me back on survival just to afford this guy. But it was well worth it because that laid the foundation for me moving to the next level, which was success. Because after that, I had more control over my out of control behavior than I ever had. I had more confidence with women. And I could start identifying a lot of my limiting beliefs, the things that kept me stuck in the level of survival as a man who was in his 20s. You know, I was getting an education, I had a lot of skills and talents, but I was still stuck in survival and blaming everybody else but myself. And spending time with this mentor made me realize that my situation was 100% my responsibility and I had to take care of it. And when you take responsibility of yourself, when you take responsibility for your life at the security level, and you overcome your porn addiction, and you begin the steps to recovery from your porn or masturbation addiction, you now have clarity. You can see a lot of the things that were happening to you biologically. You start developing the coping skills to handle your triggers. You gain clarity. And this clarity allows you to see how you can move to the next level, which is the level of success. So the success level is where you find a lot of my one-on-one clients. In terms of their relationships, they're usually in a committed relationship with the woman that they want to be in a relationship with, or they're married to her. They are killing it in their careers. They've worked very hard. They're doing well overall. Their social life is great. They like their lifestyle. However, there's still something missing. Sometimes they got to the level of success in spite of a porn addiction. And now it is threatening to move them back to the level of security. That's one group. Another group is they just live with it. They live with their porn addiction because that is what helps them cope with the reality of their success. With, let's say, for instance, their long-term committed relationship that isn't as intimate as they would like it to be. There are some other issues there, but they don't know how to communicate their emotions. So they use porn and masturbation to medicate that. You know, sometimes they want to move to the next level, which is the level of significance. Now, one of the things that's very common with the men who are at the success level, who want to get to the level of significance, is that sometimes when they even think of the decision of moving to the level of significance, they experience a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. Because making the decision to move from success to significance puts you in a position where you have to examine your life. You really have to look at your life. And then they suddenly see that there are all these little habits and behaviors that they've been ignoring, you know? Some of them are in relationships and they have a whole bunch of women on the side, you know, but they just ignore it and just, you know, continue with their life. Some of them have an out of control behavior with pornography. They're watching increasingly crazier and crazier things. Some of them have a problem with strip clubs. Some of them have a problem with escorts. But your values have been dictated by pornography and your out of control behavior, it becomes challenging to get to the next level, when they examine their life. That's one thing. The second thing is just the general anxiety of the effort it's going to take. And they do not have the coping skills necessary to handle that anxiety. So they keep falling back on their out of control sexual behavior as their coping mechanism. And it becomes very difficult to move to the next level. So this is usually where men work with me one-on-one. But if you feel that you're at that stage, one of the best things that you can do is seek professional help. Either from an anxiety coach, that's not me, I don't do that, or from a therapist, or from a psychiatrist, if you feel that your issues go a little bit deeper. But seek help to get to the level of significance. Now, at the level of significance, I rarely find anybody who is struggling with their out of control behavior. And even if I do, they are vocal about it, which is interesting. And by vocal about it, it means that they usually have some sort of platform where they are building their legacy. And they're usually not ashamed of opening their mouths and letting everybody know, everybody who looks up to them, that, hey, I have this problem, I'm struggling. And I admire that, but it is also a testament to what it takes to climb all those levels and get to the level of significance. A lot of them are very open. And they're not perfect, we're all human. Just because you're at a level of significance doesn't make you better than anybody. You still have your faults, you still have your problems, you still have other addictions. But the only thing is that they're more willing to face it headlong because they're just playing at a completely different level, okay? So I don't know if this made sense to you guys. It's just a different way of viewing your recovery and where you might be in life. So in summary, there is survival, there is security, there's success, and there is significance. Each level requires effort to get to it. Honestly, identify what level you're at and look at your behavior with porn and masturbation and ask yourself, how is porn and masturbation keeping me in this level and keeping me from moving on to the next level? And if you don't mind, go ahead and share your response in the comment section below, all right? Guys, when you get a chance, be sure to join our Facebook group. There's a link to it in the description below. And if you haven't downloaded my free ebook, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men, there's also a link to it in the description below. I'm JK, your brother in the struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll talk to you later this week. Bye.